John Wick has deleted scenes from The Sum of All Fears on his phone.
Movie is so good, Jeremy starts it off with a goddamn pop culture reference.
They left him for dead. Even he left himself for dead. But then he didn't die. Therefore, this movie.
Jeremy doesn't know that this part of the movie is actually the ending.
Most subtle title screen ever. I mean, if I'm walking in blind, that could be the director's name, or the lead actor's name, or a production logo.
Yeah, but who walks into a movie theater blind? Jeremy is a movie hopper.
Pretty sure Bridget Moynahan is playing a dead character in this movie, and will only appear in brief flashbacks like this one. And I can't help but wonder if that's a good gig, or a gig you get when you're washed up.
Hey, that's not fair. She's had a steady career as an actress. I mean, just because your former partner left you when you were pregnant for a supermodel and went on to win 2 more Super Bowls doesn't mean that you're washed up. All right, it's not a good look.
John's wife collapses and then dies in the hospital, despite the movie never telling me what's wrong with her. I suppose I'm left to guess. I'll go with diphtheria? No?
Yeah, but what she dies from doesn't matter for the story that this movie is trying to tell. Only that she is dead, and that is affecting the titular character, and is where the dog comes from. This is like asking where Ed, and Eddie's parents. That shit doesn't matter.
You have broken the trust of a son of a shepherd!
Me, get over it. You blew it, man.
Confess to your crime, stale end piece of white bread!
Movie will make Wick seem like a total loner, but at the same time, this many people came to his wife's wake. That's a lot of people.
This could be his wife's side of the family, and or some of Wick's former associates.
Yep, someone shipped him a dog.
It was his wife, but pay attention to this van. It has a bird on it, insinuating that this company deals with animals, and it says delivery services, meaning that the dog was not shipped, but that it was delivered!
Milk and cereal for a dog. Granted, he wasn't expecting a dog last night, so maybe he doesn't have anything on hand. Okay, but you still don't feed a dog milk and cereal in that instance, right? I mean, I feel like this is what Pee Wee Herman does, not a real person.
There's a couple things wrong with this. First, dogs can eat milk and cereal. I mean, it's not exactly ideal, but there are no ill effects from a bowl of cereal. Second, Pee Wee Herman is a real person in the movies that he appears in. Or do you not realize John Wick is as fictional as Pee Wee is? And lastly, one sin for not acknowledging that not only is John badass, but he shows all you heathens the correct order for pouring cereal.
Also, who ships a dog to some unsuspecting person without also shipping some goddamn puppy chow?
A company whose job it is to deliver animals. I mean, most people that presumably use this service would already be prepared for receiving an animal, no? Or do you think it's UPS's responsibility to provide you with the lube for your fleshlight?
Yep, the entire movie is going to hinge on the coincidence of these gangsters randomly stopping at the same gas station as John Wick and Theon having a hard-on for f***ing with strangers.
It's the car. I know you don't understand it because you drive a piece of shit, but classic cars and supercars attract a hell of a lot of attention. And a 1969 fastback Mustang is like the badass of badasses.
The stages of grief are denial, anger, stunt driving, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
No, I already taught you what the 5 stages of grief were in my Babadook video. The Babadook represents the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance.
Also, the easiest way to get the audience on your protagonist's side is to have the bad guys kill his dog. Works even faster than killing a wife or a kid.
These supernatural elements are all in Amelia's head. Oh, I'm on the wrong video. Anyway, yeah, how is this a sin of the film? He's the protagonist. The audience is supposed to be on his side from the beginning anyway.
Doing this instead of just killing him. I mean, you broke into his house, you killed his dog, you're stealing his car. Why leave him alive? There's no good reason I can think of except a movie needs to happen.
Iosif just wanted to humiliate John, the same way he feels John did to him when he turned down his offer to buy the Mustang. This movie makes it painfully clear that Iosif doesn't know who John is.
Also, who wants a car this badly? You want the car, so instead of just stealing it, you break into the owner's home, kill his dog, beat his ass, but leave him alive, then steal the car? This plan was created by one of the horrible boss's characters, right?
You're not getting it. Iosif is the son of a rich mobster. He thinks that he can pretty much do and buy whatever he wants. This is the nature of some rich people. When John tells him no, he feels disrespected. Also, the dog was killed because it wouldn't stop whining. It wasn't his plan to kill the dog.
Oh, Keanu just realized he's being filmed. Wrong!
A moment of silence for Jeremy's joke.
Movie has Keanu ride and dismount a city bus without any overt speed references. I give the movie props for restraint, even while I sin it for that same restraint. What?
Exactly.
Yosef Tarasov nicked it. Vigo's son.
As it happens, John Wick actually already knows the father of the f***er who killed his dog. Considering he bumped into that dude at a gas station just before the attack, that's a massive coincidence.
Actually, it's not. If he weren't the son of a mobster, he probably wouldn't have broken into his home and stolen the car. And if you watched this movie before you began writing sins, you'd see that John is a legendary figure in the mobster underworld, so he should know everyone in it.
Wow, my man Stan, giving it to the man.
You got it, Birdman. Now, let's talk about when you said 5 sins in your Predator video.
It's not what you did, son, that angers me so. It's who you did it to.
Who? The nobody?
That nobody is John Wick.
If you know John Wick by sight, and you know him to be a danger, and your chop shop guy knows him by sight, shouldn't your f***ing son know John Wick by sight too?
Jeremy thinks kids in movies take interest in the family business instead of just reaping the rewards. This is like one of the oldest tropes of all time, cinema sins.
John Wick gave up his old killer lifestyle, but only so much as to bury it under the basement floor in case of emergency.
So what?
It takes John so many sledgehammer swings to get into this floor thing, I'm left wondering why he didn't just buy a f***ing safe.
Because the point of his past being buried, I mean, do I even need to continue here, or is symbolism a sin too?
Father, I can make this right.
It's amazing how much of this guy's dialogue could literally be replaced with Theon dialogue from Game of Thrones without anyone noticing. Jeremy makes a pop culture reference. John Wick is the kind of man that showers and dresses in all black before exacting his revenge, because he's a cinematic motherfucker, y'all.
Jeremy points out things that are happening on the screen cliche.
Movie assassins always wear suits, which look great, but isn't very practical. Real assassins probably wear sweatpants. They're much easier to move in.
Yeah, but how the fuck would you know? Or is this Jeremy hired someone to kill his college girlfriend ex machina?
I'll leave you be then. Good night, John.
Good night, Jimmy.
Thankfully for John, he has an unexplained understanding with this local cop, wherein dead bodies on John's floor will be ignored so long as John remembers to get Jimmy 50-yard line seats for the next Raiders game or some.
Stop saying that things are unexplained. The scene pretty much gives you everything that you need to know. For a guy that is always complaining about movies telling and not showing, you seem to always have a problem when a movie is showing and not telling.
Here's Willem Dafoe making a veggie drink. Good for him for being healthy. This movie, though, for thinking I give a shit about this character's diet.
Jeremy hates characterization.
How much data do you think John Wick has paid for watching his dead wife videos over and over? I bet he gets throttled near the end of every single month.
Jeremy believes that he uses data while watching videos that are stored on cell phones. That's some old man shit right there.
What kind of nightclub has showers and locker rooms? Are you telling me this is actually a sex club? Fine. What kind of whorehouse has showers and locker rooms?
Jeremy has never watched Cat House on HBO.
He's already in the club, killed a dude, and is down in the bathhouse, but I'm shitty at surveillance, so the answer to your question is no.
The problem here is that he only has cameras of the bathhouse, VIP room, and the dance floor, which, up to this point, Wick hasn't been in any of these places. Sure, he ends up in the bathhouse immediately after this, but this is you misrepresenting a scene in order to bullshit your way into a sin yet again.
This is awesome and cool, but still, he wastes time shooting this asshole in the chest 3 times before shooting him in the head. John Wick is a bullet waster, I'm sorry to say. Deadpool will be proud.
You mean John Wick would be proud of Deadpool? If you're going to make a pop culture reference, at least get it right.
Wick gets his f***ing ass kicked by a random club henchman.
Pointing out things that are happening on the screen cliche.
Sniper turns out to be helping John by alerting him to the female assassin by shooting his pillow. And yeah, shooting the pillow is a pretty good I need to warn you now but don't have the time to call you signal. But what would be even better would be to shoot and kill this assassin chick as she's entering the room. Am I wrong? I really don't think I'm wrong here.
I mean, why take that chance? And I'm noticing a pattern in this video. You really dislike the movie for being clever, original, and cool, and that's sinful as shit.
Priest cursing.
Jeremy has never been to a black church.
That pillow legit did nothing to quiet that gunshot. That was loud as hell.
The pillow isn't there to muffle the gunshot. That's a myth. Cinema sins. It's there to stop the splatter of blood.
People don't change. You know that.
Unless their wife dies and someone kills their puppy, those folks might change just a little bit, no?
He's referring to John being who he always was, which is a killer.
Which is why God took your wife.
Whoa, dude. Multiple party fouls here. Bringing up the dead wife, suggesting God took her for John's misdeeds.
He wasn't suggesting that God took John's wife because he was a killer. He's saying that he took her for him to remain one. There's a nuance that you're not getting.
I received some semblance of hope, an opportunity to grieve unalone.
He's talking about a dog, though, just FYI.
So what? That's not a goddamn sin.
Willem Dafoe Ex Machina. Also, Helpful Sniper only snipes one of the bad guys, giving us this fight that is largely unnecessary regardless of how cool it might seem.
You're implying that it's easy to snipe 2 people in a row, and around here we have a sound for that.
Let's have a badass hand-to-hand fight like those Jason Bourne movies, right down to the choke-out ending, but let's make ours slightly worse in every way. Brilliant!
Suggesting that any Jason Bourne film is better than this film in any way.
I appreciate you granted my son a swift death.
I wouldn't know how to reply to that either.
Well, give him a chance.
He had 3 fucking seconds. He clearly had no intention of replying to that.
My son will be still alive!
This scene is shooting holes in my Willem Dafoe is evil prediction, so I don't like it.
Movie isn't how I wanted it to be, therefore thin.
You sound like the Star Wars fan base.
Okay, yeah, you got this car for free and but still, leaving it unattended with the keys inside anywhere in New York City is basically Tug Speedman levels of stupid.
If this movie has taught you anything, it's that touching John Wick's car is Tug Speedman levels of stupid.
It's amazing how much of this hand-to-hand and gun badass movie spends its finale focusing on driving skills.
Yeah, you'd think so because you weren't paying attention to the beginning of the movie focusing on John's driving skills. I mean, 50% of his motivation for revenge involves his fucking car.
It's Neo versus the All-State Mayhem guy. You have 5 seconds to place your bets, and I hope you use common sense.
This actor was in this movie, and that actor was in a commercial, and this is a fucking stupid sin.
I know Kung Fu.
Show me.